Hey, today I want to talk about paper, and I'm going to start with a favorite paper I had several years ago when I first started this channel. This was one of the very first notepads that I used in my pen reviews, and it worked great. I could find it locally at Hobby Lobby, which, let me just tell you, I live in rural Texas. The only stationery choices I have locally before I resort to the internet are Hobby Lobby and Walmart. After that, it's like Taco Bell napkins. So back when I first started this channel, I was using this Master's Touch marker pad from Hobby Lobby. It is a great paper. Or no, I have to fix that. It is not a great paper. It was a great paper. However, over the years, as I assume they've changed suppliers, this has gone from being an absolutely wonderful resource for me to absolute junk. I mean, absolute junk. So I'm going to do a little bit of a this or a that, show you what I'm replacing it with here locally. And yes, I will rant a little bit more, and I got the receipts. All right, so why did I like this paper? Well, let me show you by first showing you a sample of writing on this paper. And I did this morning just because I had already done the same kind of writing sample on the other papers that I'm going to show you, and it was a rather disappointing morning. And so I thought, well, am I remembering this being better than I thought it was? No, I'm not. No, I'm not. So this is what I loved about the paper. I've got here a variety of inks, and I'm going to show you up close how they look. Okay, so one is the Benu with the broad nib and the Arctic Blast ink, and it's really the ink that's more important here. But the ink is shimmering, sheening, and even, I guess, a little bit of shading, you could say, but it's just a great dynamic ink, and this paper shows it off really well. I don't know with my lighting if I can quite get everything. You can see a little bit of the sheen and shimmer as I turn in the direction of that light, probably a little bit better. Anyway, great. No feathering, no issues whatsoever. Great sheen on the word blast here. Looks great. Next, I have with my Pilot Heritage, the Pilot Blue Black. And you can see here too, that ink looks terrific. The shading is there. There's even a little bit of sheen. Looks really good. Gravitas Quark with black from Scrivener. And just a basic black, but really well saturated. Looks great on this paper. And then we have Iroshizuku, Yamaguri, and you've got beautiful shading. That's with the stub nib and my Conklin Durograph. And it looks really good. Shading you can see especially here in the little scribble there of ink. The Pelican, which I just reviewed, shading. I'm not sure if there's much sheening on this one, but it gets real dark in places, so there's potential, but it looks really good on this paper. And then I have a couple of other pens. I have a Pentel Energel in olive black. That looks just fine. Nothing really to talk about much there. And then a Sharpie. Since this is a marker pad, I figured I guess I ought to have a marker, right? But the bottom line is they all look terrific on this paper. Any characteristics they're supposed to have, they do have. And that's what I loved about this paper. It's also very smooth. It was fantastic with fountain pen inks, and almost all of my fountain pens just love writing on this paper. On the other side, you would also have really good behavior. There's no ghosting, there's no bleed through, there are no issues until you get to the Sharpie, ironically, but there's still no bleed through. I mean, it's Charles Dickens level of ghosting going on here, but yeah, no bleed through, really well behaved paper. I could usually get, by folding a sheet in half, 4 half sheets of paper, which is what I like to do. I would fold these and I would do some doodling or writing or pen testing on this side and then do the same here and the same here. And it was just really, really good paper. I absolutely loved it. The only reason I stopped using it in my reviews is because it's not internationally available. I decided to go with Rhodia for that reason, and because the full notebook was just too big for the camera, and it was just easier with my setup to go with a Rhodia dot grid. It just met a couple of different criteria that I had decided were more important. But as a paper, absolutely fantastic. The price was really not that bad. Full price, it was $12.99, but it's Hobby Lobby. I could often get it, and usually got it, on a 40% discount. That's 100 sheets, 46-pound paper. Really, really fantastic deal. And on top of that, it was a top spiral. I love top spirals. There aren't enough top spirals because if it's on the right or the left, it gets in your way. But here, out of the way. Doesn't matter if you're right-handed, left-handed, or ambidextrous. You can use that paper. It's awesome. Anyway, I really loved these notebooks. Just all around fantastic. And then one day I went to go pick up another one. Well, it sounded great at first. The price had come down, right? Yeah, but I had lost 40 sheets. 40 sheets? 40 sheets. So when you lose 2/5, you ain't that happy about the price going down. That was a disappointment. It lost the top spiral, but it's still a top flip. So, I can understand it's a cost-cutting thing. Not that big a deal. A lot of the times I would pull the paper out of there anyway, fold it in half and use it like I said. So not a deal breaker at that point. And, still could get them sometimes at 40% off. Yeah, I could have if something else hadn't changed. This wasn't a big deal. The loss of 40 sheets, that's frustrating. The price coming down, okay, that's fine. I would rather still be paying the $12.99 and catching it on sale when I can, even if it had come down to the 60 sheets, if they had maintained the quality. I do hope somebody, by the way, from Hobby Lobby is listening because you guys need this feedback. Because when this is done, you've lost fountain pen users from using any of these papers. Okay, so you go to write. Already you notice some differences, right? Everything seems a bit more spread out. Yeah, this is like writing on a paper towel. It's very smooth. I will give them that. It's still very smooth. I like that. The color is a little bit off-white. I actually like that. The feel of the paper is nice. But that doesn't matter if it can't perform. And what we find is it cannot perform. So let's look at this up close again. And what do we see? Well, we've lost any sheen in that Arctic blast, and now it looks like it's a Sharpie. It's no more of a defined line. It's not really feathering, just spreading. And it's just... Well, it's like writing on a downy paper towel. It's no good. We're back to Taco Bell napkins. Same with the Pilot Heritage. It ruined what that nib is known for in its writing. There's no thin, crisp line. When it's a lighter touch, it all looks like I'm bearing down, and I'm not. It's no good. The Gravitas, same thing. The Wing Sung, this is extra fine. You can't tell it. The Conklin Duragraph just absolutely spread like butter on hot toast. Pelican doesn't even look like that's what I'm writing with because this is a well-known ink. And if you're not familiar with it, go look at my review and see how it performs on tons of papers. And it doesn't do this normally. The Pentel, well, that was fine. And the Sharpie also looks fine. But how did it actually perform when we flip the paper over? Well, let's flip it over. It's total junk. It's just junk. It didn't bleed through. I'm going to give it credit where credit's due. It did not bleed through to the next piece of paper, but who cares? It's like the ghost of Christmas past is having a party with all his friends. You got just an absolute mess on the other side, and this is not the level of quality that your customers were expecting. This is what you had. I get it. Maybe you wanted to do a cost savings, but listen, cost savings only works if you maintain quality. If you bring the cost down, but you go from, say, a silver metal paper to did not finish, what have you really done? You haven't made a better value for your customers. You've told them, get lost. So I'm pretty frustrated with this. I don't know who made that decision, but clearly, whenever they tested this paper, they were using pencil or crayon, but they weren't using the kind of things you would want to use on marker paper, which does include fountain pens. And look at it. It speaks for itself. It speaks for itself. So in the this, not that, what are we going to do? This was a wonderful, high quality paper that could do a multitude of things for you, and now it's useless. Okay, so I'm not a grudge holder, though. If you got something better, I would be more than thrilled about it. So I went back. I had heard that Hobby Lobby was now carrying PLA filament for 3D printing, which I do, and I think it's pretty popular among fountain pen users. It's kind of an interesting crossover. So I went to go get a box of PLA and see if that was going to work out well. And actually it has. You can see it right over there. My pen stands, those are from that PLA. That worked out fine, no problems there. But I also saw that they had redone their marker pad. They have a new supplier. Now the price is up $1. I don't care if it's better. It is actually not made. The other one, both of the others were made in China. The excellent one too was made in China. But this one is made in Italy. Well, I thought that might actually give me a chance to review another paper, and hopefully Hobby Lobby will redeem themselves and this manufacturer will be good. So I bought it. It was also 40% off. If it works out, man, what a great recommend that would be. Would be. I said would be. Hold on. I'm not there yet. Let me show you what they say about the paper. So, designs especially for markers, smooth surface, acid-free. That's all great. It's made by Fabriano. They've been around a while. They should know what they're doing. And goes down the list. They've changed some of their manufacturing so it'll be less toxic and less acidic and more green friendly, all that kind of stuff. Okay, that's all great. I'm fine with all of that. And again, $12.64. They ought to know what they're doing. And I'm sure they do. I have no doubts that they know what they're doing, but they're making paper to a spec. So the question is, were the specs that Hobby Lobby asked for when they go to Fabriano, were they going to improve Hobby Lobby's offerings or more of the same bad thing? Well, good grief. It went from bad to worse. Bad to worse? Why would it go bad to worse? It went up $1. Yeah, arguably, it should be a company that should blow the socks off of that Chinese manufacturer, right? Right? Well, no. This ain't blowing the socks off. This is a stinky sock. So, what do we have? Well, now we have some of the same spread problem, though not as pronounced, but we have feathering. Terrible feathering. So, the Arctic Blast just looks terrible. The Pilot Blue Black, not great. There's some feathering there. There's a little bit of shading. There's not quite as much spread. You get a little bit of a thinner line coming through as it should, but feathering all over the place. The Gravitas did okay. The Wing Sung is probably the one the happiest, and that's actually the Hongdian Sky Blue ink. It was okay. The Iroshizuku Yamaguri, terrible. You do get shading, but you get feathering all over the place, and what a shame, because that's a great ink. Even the Pelican Dark Green, it's kind of middle of the road in this sample, but there is some minor feathering. And then the Intergel, I don't know, it's pretty lifeless. And, the Sharpie looks fine. The Sharpie looks fine. But how does it look on the other side? Well, more of the same. We still got really, really terrible ghosting, and this time, no bleed through still, no bleed through. I thought there might be. But it's terrible. It's just terrible. This is not what you want from marker paper, and this is a marker, this is a Sharpie, but it's really not what you want from your fountain pen ink. Did it bleed through? No. I could live with, by the way, I could live with the ghosting. I could live with the terrible ghosting as long as it didn't bleed through if there were no feathering and it brought out the good characteristics of the inks and pens. It's really nice, smooth paper. I like the color. I like the feel and texture of the paper, but none of that matters. None of that matters if it feathers. That's a deal breaker for me. I think it's a deal breaker for like 101% of fountain pen users. And so this one too, that one's going to the ballpoint pile for somebody else. So what do? This is my local supplier. I have some papers from Walmart that are okay, but none of them have the nice texture or off-white or top spiral of that really nice original Master's Touch Hobby Lobby paper that I liked so much and used for several years. Well, then I'm over on another aisle. I don't remember why at this point, and this caught my eye. It said marker pad, okay? At this point, you might be thinking, well, James, I think you ought to give up on the marker pad. But no, I did not, because I don't give up. I don't hold a grudge. If you come at me with a different thing and say, well, try this one, okay, maybe we'll try it. Well, I'm trying it. $2.99 that day. It was $2.99. I did check because this was several months ago, and it is still that price, and it is still in stock, even online at Hobby Lobby. So this is the this not that choice. This $2.99 paper Also, it's also acid-free. It's also sustainable forestry initiative, just like the Italian paper. This performed better. Is it as good as that original Master's Touch? Well, sadly, no. But it does have some things going for it. $2.99 is one of them. But again, I'm not paying $2.99 just because it's $2.99. It still has to function the way I expect it to function. Now, it's less paper. It's only 40 sheets. So 2 of them together would be $6. You're really getting into a close cost per sheet to that other pad. But if it works better, that's great. It is made, by the way, in the United States. And it's made by Dixon Ticonderoga, some people who ought to know a thing or two about paper. But we've seen that doesn't always mean anything. So how does it perform? Okay, again, not as well as that original paper. I'm going to tell you that up front, but it does do pretty well. There's no feathering on any of these inks. It does have shading. My Pilot Custom Heritage got its groove back. Nice crisp lines, especially when it's good and thin. Everything else looks like it should, okay? You've got shading, you've got sheening. There's no issues here. The shimmering shows up well, and hopefully you can see that in the lighting here. All right, so how did it do? There you go. Look at that. Look where it says Benu. You can see really well that it is performing with that ink as it should. So Jaime gets happy again. But how does it look on the other side? Because that's going to be important. It is, by the way, it is thicker than the current Italian-made marker pad that is available at the Hobby Lobby. And how did the fountain pens do? They did well. Now you still have, you got some problems here with the Sharpie. There is actually with the Sharpie some bleed through, but Sharpies do bleed through a lot of things. I wouldn't have been surprised if that had happened on all these papers, but this is the only one. But look at the fountain pen inks. You have only slight dotted ghosting, no bleed through, but ghosting. But on some of these inks, you don't even have ghosting. So this is actually the closest to that paper that I can get from the store where I can actually get local supplies. And it's $2.99, made in the USA and readily available as this video is being made. Now, obviously, you know, that could change, but Dixon Ticonderoga is a stable company, and so, you know, maybe that'll be a regular offering for a long time, and this will make a good supply for when I need a large, like 9x12 sheet of blank paper. So there you go. In the This Not That, it is definitely this, not that. And I do hope, by the way, again, I hope somebody from Hobby Lobby is listening. I hope that you talk to your suppliers and give them some guidance on how the paper needs to perform, because I'm telling you, there are a lot of us out here who had been using that, and the last couple of changes y'all have made, guys, they ain't worked. They just ain't worked. You got me using bad grammar. Good grief, what are you thinking? All right, for those of you who are still with me here, first, thank you for listening. Thank you for letting me get that off my chest. But really, this Prang paper, not a bad deal at all, especially at that bargain price. And I'm going to ask, like I always do you know another readily available marker pad like this, blank, with a really nice texture? Like I said, I kind of prefer the off-white in this kind of paper that actually does hold its own when it comes to fountain pen inks. If so, share that in the comments below. And in the meantime, God bless you and have a wonderful week.